So I'm here with Ryan Kelley, the founder of Hero Loan. What an incredible company that's out there helping so many veterans. I think one question that I've applied for probably 3 VA loans. I still don't understand how it works. I still don't understand the difference from conventional loans. So what is a VA loan?
Yeah, it's a great question and one that we get quite a bit. And I'll tell you, the VA loan is a home loan that's backed by the Department of Veteran Affairs. And it was created to help veterans and active duty service members become homeowners. And the VA doesn't actually lend the money, private lenders do. But the VA guarantee reduces the risk on that loan. And that reduced risk allows for better terms than traditional loans. I would say that it's probably one of the best benefits of being in military service. And I would encourage anybody that has served to dig into the VA loan, whether they're refinancing or purchasing a home.
Yeah, and like what an incredible, piece. And you talk about arguably for most and majority of people, their largest purchase is going to be their home in their entire lifetime, right? And so, when you look at this and you talk about it, there's like tons of loans out there. And you walk into any bank or you go to, usually the person that introduces you to things like this is going to be your realtor or whatever aspect. They're always trying to set these things up. What's the benefits of a VA loan versus the rest of the loans that are out there?
Absolutely. First of all, with the VA loan, you can literally buy a house with no money down. So if you've been thinking you have to save up a large down payment, that just won't be the case. You can buy a house with no money down. And in fact, if your realtor writes a contract where the seller maybe covers closing costs or other items, then $0 buy a home. So that's probably the largest benefit of the VA loan. And then right after that, VA loans generally have lower interest rates. They trend anywhere about a half a point to even a full point lower than a conventional loan. So not only are you not required to put down the 20%, 10%, but you also get a lower interest rate. There's no monthly private mortgage insurance on these loans. So a lot of other loan types, when you don't put a full 20% down, you have to pay that PMI or mortgage insurance. But that's not the case with the VA loan. And I would even argue that there's easier qualifications on a VA loan than a conventional loan. And a lot of lenders don't really go with that, but maybe they just don't know exactly how to do them right. VA loans, I think we can close just as easy, if not easier, than a traditional or conventional loan.
And there's so many different statuses when you serve, right? I mean, wearing the uniform, you can do it as a reservist, National Guard. I mean, all these different aspects of what service truly is. Some people serve 4 years, some people serve 24 years, 20, 30, whatever it is, officers versus enlisted, different levels of different service at whatever anybody gives. So who is it exactly that qualifies for a VA loan?
Yeah, that's a great question. So active duty service members, I would say the majority will qualify for a loan, a VA loan. And then, of course, you have your veterans who meet those service requirements, National Guard and Reserve members who have significant service time, and some surviving spouses. Eligibility for a VA loan is confirmed through your certificate of eligibility. We call that your COE. And it's easy to go online and find out what your certificate of eligibility is, type it in your name, and they can find that. Many veterans do qualify for a VA loan, and they don't even know they qualified. So I would say if you serve, if you're active, if you're retired, if you're National Guard, Reserves, a surviving spouse, you should definitely look into and see if you do qualify for the VA loan.
Awesome. And so you just started talking about it. You talked about getting your certificate of eligibility. So what does the process look like of going through and getting the VA loan, and how long does it typically take? What does that look like for a veteran or a service member that's looking to apply?
Yeah. And that's a great question. I would say do your homework up front. Learn about the VA loan, as you should with anything, but dig in. And at heroloan.com, we list out all the common questions, all the answers, so that a service member or veteran can go to heroloan.com and find the answers to all their questions. But your first step would be a pre-approval. Whether you're looking to buy a house or refinance, you need to speak with a VA specialist and get pre-approved for the loan. And that will determine your eligibility, of course. We can pull that COE. It'll give you an idea what the loan amount is that you're approved for, whether or not you are comfortable with the payment, and so forth. So you're verifying your eligibility, then you verify the income, credit, assets, and essentially then you get pre-approved, right? So you've had a good long phone call, you've done some research, you've found out that you are eligible for the VA loan, and they reviewed income, credit, and a couple things, and then you're pre-approved, whether that's for a refinance or a purchase. Once you're pre-approved, if you're purchasing a house, it's time to go shop. It's time to get with your realtor, get on Zillow or one of those sites and find the right house. Make some offers and get an accepted contract, and then you come back to us, the lender. Once you have a house under contract, then we'll order the VA appraisal. We'll go back into underwriting. We'll get you clear to close, and then we'll schedule closing. The full VA process from application slash pre-approval to closing, we can do that in about 14 days. So it's not a long process. Now, if you don't need 14 days and you have a 30-day closing or you're not quite ready to buy now, that's fine as well. Getting pre-approved, doing your research are the first critical steps. And then working with a trusted VA lender is very important to make sure that we can get you that closing table quick without all the hassles.
That's awesome. And so, before going through that process, you talked about, making sure you're pre-approved, things like that. What would you recommend that someone out there that's looking to maybe use this VA home loan process, what should they know about it before they go into it? Like, what should they do their research on? Where should they find that at? Where can they find this information at? Because there's so many things out there, right? I mean, you type this in and there's, tons of on Google, and there's tons of just, things popping up, companies, everybody's promising you this. There's calculators. What would you say the three things that they should learn is and should know before applying, and where can they find that information?
The first thing I need to say is not all VA lenders are created equal, and not all lenders are good at VA loans. You have a lot of lenders out there, it might be a side project for them to do the VA loans, and they're not as skilled and familiar with them. So finding the right lender is probably the most important piece of the project, the puzzle. It's right out of the gate, working with the right VA lender. That wrong lender can destroy the entire deal. They can lose the deal. They can cause headaches, hassles, and ultimately the veteran or the service member, the applicant, is the one that pays the price for that. So make sure you're working with a strong VA lender. Experience does matter more than advertised rates. VA loans have unique rules, and some lenders have these overlays over them. And so if you, again, are not working with a proper VA lender or a strong VA lender, they might have some overlays for credit scores or income or these other things that just make it difficult. Yeah, and I think just education, again, going back to that, learning the process, reading about it online, and we have great resources for that at HeroLoan.com.
So, as someone who, maybe they already have a VA loan and they're watching this, they're looking to purchase another house somewhere else, or whatever financial state that they're in, like, can you have more than one VA loan?
That's a great question. And a lot of folks don't know, but yes, you can have more than one VA loan in many cases. It really depends on how much VA entitlement that you do have. Veterans have basic, and then they can have bonus entitlement as well. And it's very common with PCS moves or growing families where you might have one home with your VA loan, but now you've outgrown it or you've been transferred or you're moving and you don't have time to sell that house. You're going to rent that house or whatever it might be. So, yes, you need to check that entitlement, but most veterans can qualify to have more than one VA loan at a time. The math really matters, and expert guidance matters. So again, back to the education and working with the right VA lender, they'll be able to determine how many VA loans you can have at one time.
So there's tons of lenders out there. There's tons of so-called specialists, and the one thing that I can, I know for a fact, and that I've experienced is that, not all VA specialists, so-called specialists, are the same, and not all are equal. And I sometimes what you'll get is you'll get them to try to push you away from the VA loan. They'll say, "Oh, the red tape," and they'll actually blame the VA process as being the problem instead of just their lack of knowledge and understanding how to get through that and over the benefits of what you get from this. So with Hero Loan, like, what makes you all the best specialist, and how are you all, like, gonna make this process the easiest for anyone listening?
HeroLoan.com is built specifically for the military community. It's VA loans. That's what we do. And of course, if you need a conventional loan or a FHA loan, we can do that. But right up front, it's VA loans. That's what we're built for. We understand them. Our VA loan specialists have 20 years experience doing VA loans. They're not just reading a manual and talking with someone reading off a script. So we know them inside and out, VA loans being our primary focus. We have a deep understanding of how the PCS moves and military timelines work so we can navigate through all of that. A streamlined process for speed and accuracy. A lot of these VA lenders or lenders that do VA loans will drag this process out for 30, 60 days. That's not the case. We can close VA loans in as little as 14 days. In some cases, we have to move fast, 10 or 12 days, not a problem. We're very transparent. There isn't, a lot of things behind the curtain that we're hiding. We're very upfront. We go through it all with our clients so they fully understand the process. And at the end of the day, we treat veterans like real people, maybe even better than real people. And again, it's just not a yes, sir, thank you, sir, reading off a script in a call center. We know firsthand from experience from 20 years of working with veterans and active duty service members what they're going through on some level. And we work around those schedules and we work with them to make sure that they are comfortable through the process and understand it. And a lot of times we're working with the spouse. The actual active duty service member might be not available, right? And so we're working with the spouse and really making sure that he or she really understands the process as well. So I guess the simple answer is we're built for this. This is what we do. It's our primary mission, and it's not just a secondary loan product that we offer.
And you keep talking a lot about this VA specialist, right? Can you explain a little bit about what the VA specialist is? Like, it's not somebody that works for the VA. It's actually somebody that works for you. And so, like, this is who they need to reach out and contact. And at what part of the process do they need to reach out to you all to start getting in contact with you?
So to back up just a little bit, we don't just know VA loans. We understand our clients. For several years, I would bring in a retired veteran or active duty service member to speak with my team so that they understand what these troops are going out and the missions that they're doing and what's going on in their lives. And they could hear that firsthand. And that's so different than just reading a script or something along those lines. The second thing is we work closely with the VA. And we understand the rules, the guidelines that they're putting into place. And sometimes we can be a soundboard and give our input back to the VA on why this might not be the right path for a VA loan. We read every single guideline that comes out. We understand those loans. So we're a full package of knowledge, both what our applicants are going through in personal life and military service, and then on the loan programs. And I believe that's what makes us a specialist in all things VA. And to our clients out there, if you're not even ready to buy a house, but you just want that knowledge, reach out to us. We enjoy teaching the right way of how VA loans work. And all the stuff on the internet, some of it's good. You got to pull the good, but there's a lot of bad out there as well. So doing that research, giving us a call, speaking with us, and then we'll answer all those questions and walk you through that process or your spouse through that process all the way to the closing table.
And then the next question I have, the last one is, so I'm currently stationed in Camp Pendleton, California. I'm getting ready to move back to Texas. Does it matter where I live at? Does it matter where I'm buying at? What do I need to worry about when it comes to that?
That won't matter. We have ways to get around a primary residence location. With the VA, there's many people obviously in your exact situation. They're stationed somewhere else, but that's not where their home's going to be. That won't be an issue.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I mean, this was really, really helpful. I know even as somebody who's got 3 VA home loans, over their lifetime, I'm learning something every time I sit down and talk with you. So, where do people find you at? How do they get in touch with you?
People can learn more at heroloan.com. It has our contact phone number, email addresses, Q&As, all kinds of information, and you can even apply there. But I wanted to thank you as well, not just for your service, which we're forever grateful for, but just for working with the Hero Loan team and to give us the guidance and to let us know exactly what these service members and veterans are looking for, what their questions are. It really helps us to deliver a better product out there. So heroloan.com is where people can find us, and we look forward to helping as many veterans and service members as we can achieve that goal of homeownership.
Thank you so much.